This podcast does not provide medical advice. Please listen to the complete disclosure at the end of the recording.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everyone Dies, the podcast where we talk about serious illness, dying, death, and bereavement. I'm Marianne Manso, a nurse practitioner, and I use my experience from working as a nurse for 44 years to help answer your questions about what happens at the end of life.
And I'm Charlie Navarrete, an actor in New York City, here to ask questions that you may have while listening to our podcast. We are both here because we believe that the more you know before a crisis hits, the better prepared you will be to make difficult decisions when a crisis hits.
So please relax and get yourself something fabulous to snack and sip on. And thank you for spending the next hour with Charlie and me as we, what else? Talk about human composting, because that's what people do. In the first half, I have our recipe of the week and one of my favorite Willie Nelson songs. In the second half, Charlie will be educating us about human composting and the benefit this burial practice can have on the environment. And in our third half, Claire Lucky, Instagram's grieving bitch, will be joining us to discuss her own funeral plans. So, Charlie, what's new?
Well, let's see here. It's autumn in New York. So
Somebody should write a song about that.
I know, they should.
Like
what a great title, too.
Like, what the heck?
Actually, you know what? I should go up to the park. I read or heard or something that I'm sorry, I'm talking about Central Park. The colors are
because
at their height.
like what other park is there, Charlie?
Well, there's the other bigger park in don't tell me, in Brooklyn. But you're right. I mean, Central Park is
the park.
Is the most famous.
The park.
The park.
So the colors are looking good there?
God. Yes. That's what I've heard.
Well, you should check it out.
So, so actually the weather's supposed to clear up, I think, later today, but definitely by tomorrow. So I'll go and I'll come back with a talkative report on what I saw visually.
Okay.
Yeah, there we are.
There was red and there was yellow.
But not just any yellow. It was a light yellow, but then there was some dark yellow too.
So you don't even have to go. You already know what's going to happen.
Oh, you're right. What's the point? I'm sure it'll be there next year again. Okay, good. Well,
forget about it.
One more thing off the bucket list.
Oh, that was another movie I was watching. I've been
What's that?
Stripping doors. God.
You've been what?
Stripping doors for the new house.
Oh, stripping doors.
You know, to get the old gross varnish off and repairing them. And I was listening to, of course, I can't actually pick my head up and watch it, but I listen to movies. I was listening to Mickey Blue Eyes with
what's his Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Hugh Grant. But on Mickey Blue Eyes, he's like trying with his British accent to say, forget about it, with James Caan.
Yeah.
It had like all the people, not all the people, but like the beginnings of the Soprano cast were in that. When you go back and watch it, even Tarantino's sister is in it. I mean, it's just like this. Anyway. So,
precursor, yes.
For our first half, I know I've been talking you've been talking about that, but the last few weeks with Willie Nelson's new album. And I've just really been enjoying his sort of perspective in this album because it's about growing old and dying and, just all my favorite topics, Charlie.
And he's 90 now.
And I heard, and I don't know if it's true, that he has, I forget what kind of dementia.
That he likes marijuana?
No, does he?
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
There's even this song called, not on this album, called I'll Never Get High with Willie Again. Or something like that. No, I'll never. I'll never smoke weed with Willie again. Is what's the name of it? Yeah. Yep. But anyway, I wanted to read the words of one of his songs that I think that's on this album. It's in your show notes that I just think is wonderful. So you want me to read it to you? Okay, I will.
No, let's skip to the next segment. Oh, I should have spoken sooner. Oh, well.
Okay. Live every day like it was your last one. And one day you're going to be right. Treat everyone like you want to be treated and see how that changes your life. Yesterday is dead and tomorrow is blind and the future is way out of sight. Live every day like it was your last one and one day you're going to be right. If there's someone you love and you haven't told them, you want to tell them today. If there was someone you're wrong and you've not said I'm sorry, it might be a good thing to say. Pick up the phone and send them a message. It's time to make everything right. Live every day like it was your last one. One day, you're going to be right. Live every day like it was your last one, and one day you're going to be right. Treat everyone like you want to be treated. See how that changes your life. Yesterday is dead and tomorrow is blind and the future is way out of sight. Live every day like it was your last one, and one day you're going to be right. Live every day like it was your last one, and one day you're going to be right. Treat everyone like you want to be treated. See how that changes your life. Yesterday is dead and tomorrow is blind and the future is way out of sight. And just live every day like it was your last one. One day, you're going to be right.
Very true.
Well, I think it's sort of like extremely obvious. But
people don't. I mean, most people don't think that way, though.
No. And we're here to be the dose of reality.
Smack you upside your head.
Yeah. Never anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us and Mickey Blue Eyes. Yes.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. So, folks, please go to our webpage for recipes and resources for this program. We hope you will follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and remember to rate and review this podcast. We have a link in our show notes that makes rating our podcast easy for you and so helpful to us. As a licensed nonprofit organization, we are dependent on your kindness and always appreciate your tax-deductible donations. If you find this podcast to be of help to you, and many of you have, please go to our webpage to donate so that we can continue to provide quality shows about serious illness, dying, death, and bereavement at www.everyonedies.org. That's every, the number one, dies.org.
So, Charlie, what's all this fuss about human composting?
Well, Marianne, as you know, the ecological footprint of managing a dead body is extreme. Folks, you can check out our resources for other shows we have produced on this topic. If you are buried, you're going to be pumped full of a few gallons of toxic embalming fluid, which will soon leach out of your corpse and then out of your casket, which will most likely be stored for posterity in a cemetery that uses tons of pesticides and astronomical amounts of water to keep it looking nice. Golly. If you are cremated, your body will be incinerated in an oven for between 3 and 4 hours at temperatures around 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, or as every other country on the planet would say, 982 degrees Celsius. It takes about 28 gallons of fuel to incinerate a single human body, and the process releases carbon monoxide, soot, and even mercury from dental fillings into the air. On that happy note, our topic this week is human composting, which is now legal in 5 states. Composting is an alternative to burial or cremation. Let's break it down. A deceased body is covered in natural materials, and over the course of about 3 to 7 weeks, thanks to microbial activity, it breaks down into nutrient-dense soil. As this process is happening, families can visit the facility where this is taking place. They will ultimately receive the soil that remains. It's up to the family to determine how they want to use that soil.
I'm going to grow marijuana.
What?
I said, I'll grow marijuana.
I get no kick from champagne. Sure, why not?
Wouldn't that be great?
Yes.
Sorry.
I never thought of it. Yes. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
I know. Yeah. Then you can
then you come back as a joint. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You could be like Hugh Grant and live like a joint and come back like a joint.
I still, it's been decades now. I still can't get over he did that. It was Elizabeth Hurley. Have I mentioned that before?
Just 300 times.
Okay. Where were we? Oh, here's a good segue from Elizabeth Hurley back to human composting. So, human composting was a brainchild of Katrina Spade, founder and CEO of the Seattle-based startup Recompose. Simply put, it is the gentle transformation of a human body into soil. Human composting is also known as terramation, or natural organic reduction, NOR, which starts with the placement of a body in a sealed vessel along with organic materials, such as straw, flowers, and wood chips. Microbes that naturally occur on the plant material and on and in our bodies power the transformation into soil. Oxygen is pumped in to increase thermophilic or heat-loving microbial activity for 30 to 60 days. A corpse will yield about a cubic yard of fluffy soil. The process, which costs about $5,000, uses an eighth of the energy that cremation does. After resting in a curing bin for a few weeks, the soil can be returned to the deceased's loved ones, who might use it to fertilize a memorial garden or flower bed, or donate it to an ecosystem restoration project, or use it to grow marijuana.
Mm.
There is an alternative method of final disposition that won't contribute emissions into our atmosphere and will actually capture CO2 in our soil and trees, said Cristina Garcia, the lawmaker who drafted California's human composting bill. For each individual who chooses NOR over conventional burial or cremation, the process saves the equivalent of 1 metric ton of carbon from entering the environment. The Beverly Hills 90210 actor Luke Perry took a different fork on the same road. After his death at age 52, God, 52, Marianne.
I know, a baby.
I know, geez, nuts. So after his death at age 52 from a massive stroke, he was entombed in Tennessee wearing a mushroom burial suit, which, made by Coeo, the name riffs on a Latin word meaning assemble or come together. The garment's manufacturer is made up of mushrooms and other microorganisms that help decompose the body, transfer nutrients to plants, and neutralize toxins. The end result of being buried in the infinity burial suit, or any of Coeo's products, is that bodies are transformed into vital nutrients that enrich the earth and foster new life. The suit is not only chic, it is made out of organic cotton and seeded with mushroom spores. Not only that, the company claims that mushrooms can decompose our modern post-mortem bodies while cleaning toxins from our bodies before they leach out into the soil. According to the Centers for Disease Control, the bodies of 21st century people are full of all kinds of toxins. No kidding. BPA, heavy metals, volatile organic compounds, preservatives, pesticides, the byproducts of disinfectants, and so much more. Mushrooms put out enzymes that break down organic material and remediate toxins in the soil. They've even been touted as the answer to cleaning up everything from nuclear meltdowns to oil spills. And the varieties of fungi that can do this aren't fancy or rare. Lots of edible varieties like shiitake and oyster mushrooms are great at cleaning soil. J. Rim Lee, artist and founder of the Infinity Burial Project, has been working to find a hybrid mushroom that can decompose bodies and metabolize toxins, turning corpses into nutrient-rich soil. Using her own hair, nails, and skin cells as food for her mushrooms, she developed the best mushroom variety for the job, the Infinity mushroom. The cost of the burial suit, and for Marvel fans in the house, the Infinity burial suit, is $1,500 for people and $200 for pets. But the question lingers. Will consumers be able to overcome the psychological hurdle of putting soil made from a loved one into the vegetable garden? Lisa Devereaux, the president of the Washington State Funeral Directors Association, said, "We're hearing a lot of, oh, that's disgusting. We don't want to eat our relatives." Devereaux herself was skeptical until she saw a Washington proposal recommend that the resulting soil will be scattered in forests or in non-food gardens. A cubic yard of soil is a lot of product, Devereaux pointed out. 4 large wheelbarrows full. Controversy ensued when the Washington State Catholic Conference denounced human composting, suggesting that it's an undignified end for a human body. But Father Dick Sparks in Vero Beach, Florida, said that a case can be made for it. Given that Pope Francis wrote Laudato Si, a big encyclical about climate control and the environment, I could see human composting being accepted by the church, as long as it's done with love and integrity and not primarily for money.
Because, God forbid, we do it for money.
Yes. Oh, yes. And that is just not in human nature to do stuff only for money. No. No.
So can you see yourself doing this? Becoming a mushroom?
Well, only because I don't like mushrooms, no. But my philosophy is, you know what? I'll be dead. I won't know what's going on. So there we are. So if somebody wants a compost gravy sauce, sure, why not? Go ahead.
Well,
I forgot to mention mushroom gravy, mushroom sauce, mushroom.
But the thing is, Charlie,
gravy or something.
I've heard you frequently say, "Well, I'll be dead; it won't matter." But what we've been talking about for years on this show is that, if, like, for example, if the environment is something that's important to you, and you say, "Well, do what you want as long as it's not a burial in the ground," or "do what you want as long as it's not this," some advice in terms of your values need to be communicated. I don't know if you've done that or not, but don't just, I would say,
I see what you're saying.
I would say to people, don't just leave it,
No, you're absolutely right. And I have, I've told my family, do as you wish, but, and yeah, with some of the, different ways to, to check out or to literally be 6 feet under. Just to consider, environmental factors and not just simply, okay, well, let's, throw him in the ground and, dance on his grave. So yes, no, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah.
So, because your sibs, will probably be talking, if I'm still alive after you're dead, I just think it would be nice if you gave parameters.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Because if you leave it open, then, let's say Kathy says, "Oh, but I want to have a place where I can go visit him and take him, Mexican village food or something," and she buries you. I don't think that would be consistent with your values.
Yes, you're right.
So help us out here. Be a good role model.
No, that's what I said, that I have specified that. And, it was cute to make the joke, but no, I have specified that.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. What do you want?
Yeah. Basically, I said whatever is the most, like the latest technique, if you will, that'll leave the lowest, the most minimal impact.
Oh, environmental. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
All right, folks, you heard it all here first. We know what Charlie wants.
Yes.
So for our third half, Claire Lucky, who goes under the name Grieving Bitch on Instagram, is part of the Everyone Dies correspondent team. At age 32 and only 4 months after her marriage, her husband was diagnosed with stage 4 glioblastoma, a type of brain cancer, in February of 2020, and Claire was his caregiver until his death in June of 2021. Claire is sharing her grief journey and life challenges as a 35-year-old widow. Notice she's 35 because she had a birthday. She lives in New York City.
Happy birthday to you. Yes.
She lives in New York City, and she is meets with Everyone Dies in her bi-monthly third half segment. So in this chat, we are talking about Claire's funeral plans. Have a listen.
Hi, Claire. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. So Charlie just did a whole second half about human composting, and I know that after our series about planning funerals, you decided that you were going to plan your funeral, and I just wanted to touch base with you, see how that was coming along.
Oh, that's right. So I've reached out to a group called TG and Beyond, and anybody listening, feel free to look them up on Instagram. They do virtual memorials, and they've been kind enough to help me go about planning my end of life as a 35-year-old widow, and we're going to be recording most of it as a documentary, and we'll be releasing it via Instagram in a number of series. So stay tuned for that. Follow them or follow me on Grieving Bitch for more. But we are only at the tip of the iceberg right now. So we know we're going to be planning on what to do with my body in the event that I die. And I shouldn't even say
if you die.
When. It's when. It's just a matter of, is it going to be tomorrow? I
might die. I might not. I'm trying to decide.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure it out. Yeah, I could be immune to this. Who knows? But we haven't talked out all the options. So I'm really glad that we can explore it today, and I'm so excited to listen to what Charlie has to say.
So, in talking about human composting, usually when people think about interment or, they think about burial or cremation, both of which, as Charlie talked about, has a huge carbon footprint. But have you considered, like water cremation or composting?
So my first reaction to water cremation is, ugh. Like, it's just, I think, I don't know, I just feel, it just feels weird. But I want to hear about it, and I'm composting. I'm like, oh, that's a thing. That, like, I know people do that. Like, that's, like, why not compost myself? Like, maybe that sounds, that is something more palatable for me. And in the beginning, when I was dealing with my husband's end of life, when we were preparing, like, a bit of a strong word because there was so much going on. But we were really only thinking about the traditional casket in the ground or cremation. So it helped me understand what the water cremation and human composting is.
Well, we do have a podcast about water cremation, and I'll have to send you the link. But essentially, it's using water to break down the body, and it kind of goes through I don't know, what do we call it? I don't want to call it a distillery because that would be a little weird. But your family can end up with that broken, your body can break down in the ground, like with composting, or it can break down with the water. And then they can use that water to water plants and vegetables, or your family can take it and use it in their garden. And it's highly, nutrient dense. And so it's good for the environment, has a lower carbon footprint.
Oh, that's interesting. So then it would be liquid.
Yes, you get reduced down to water, to sort of like.
I kind of like the way.
Have you ever seen the movie Soylent Green?
No.
Oh, put that on your list. It's Soylent, Soylent Green. It's an old movie, but God, is it good.
Okay, consider it on my list. I mean, now I'm kind of like, oh, well, this is kind of, I know we just said the word distillery, but now I'm kind of like, well, I'm kind of thinking like a bourbon. I'm like, oh, all right, I could be like in a cute little bottle.
Yeah, but you don't go in like an oak barrel and get aged to perfection. Once it's done, it's done. And that. But
if I told Matt about this, he would be like, well, maybe I could be in like a bourbon barrel. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, but then who's going to drink it? Nobody's going. That'd be the thing. Like Matt, nobody's going to drink you.
Yeah, I'd have to water plants with him. That would be that's the thing, is I'd have to go back into the soil, or he would go back into the soil. But so now I'm not as creeped out with the liquid.
And then it would be like Little Shop of Horrors. Did you ever see that one?
No, I haven't.
Claire,
I'm the worst.
You?
I know. I'm my movie.
All of my favorite. Okay, put down on your list Little Shop of Horrors. It's a play, but it's also a film, and it's a musical, so it's great fun, but creepy in its own way. I'm going to have you write report cards on all these films I'm telling you to watch.
I know. I need like Marianne's monthly movie club.
Yes, and then you have to write a film report, like you had to write book reports when we were kids. It's my not favorite a bad part of the film was. So when you and Matt were planning his funeral, do you remember why you decided on cremation?
I think we liked the concept of him, me being able to put his ashes in different places, or like that was kind of that I think it's hard for me to explain. It just feels like that's what he was more drawn to, and he wants to be spread in the North Woods in Central Park, and it's about 15, 16 months after his death right now, and I haven't worked up to the place where I can do that yet. And I also had Matt's ashes divided into 4, because while his wishes are to be in Central Park, and I will execute those wishes, I'm doing an audible, and I'm also going to make some jewelry out of his ashes, and I'm going to spread some of his ashes where we got married. So that's what I'm going to do. And I also am planning on living a long life, so I want to have options. I want to, if there's somewhere else that I want to put him in 10 years, I want to have a little bit of an ash nest egg, so that way I can do it. And then maybe if I decide on this human composting, we can make a tree together or something, and his ashes can be where I am. So I'd love to do that. And I also have my cat Bailey's ashes. So it's gonna, all of us have to go somewhere together.
Well, if you go like that route with like human composting, and then put Bailey, in the hole and Matt in the hole, you could, have somebody grow maybe some marijuana or something. And
that is exactly what Matt would want.
See?
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I gotta write that down and put that in the wishes, because he would love to be a part of a marijuana plant.
And then people, like after the composting is done and the plant has grown, you could have the people who were most close to you guys, like get together, and by then it'll be recreational legal probably everywhere, and they could have a party.
Yeah, they would love that. Smoke a little doobie on Matt.
Mm-hmm. And you and Bailey. I mean, you're there too, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to your adventure with this documentary about planning your funeral. And you'll have to keep us in the loop so that we can watch it and share this with you.
I will. You guys are all going to be invited.
Oh, cool. I love being an influencer,
You're such an influencer. I love it. We're deaf influencers. We're deaf
influencer.
Yeah, they don't know what to. The world doesn't know what to do with us.
Yeah, the people with they get all that free makeup and all that other stuff. Man, they got nothing on us.
Yeah, they don't. We have the inside scoop on how to dispose of your body.
That's right. That's right. In an ecological, environmentally friendly way.
It really is the peak of, I don't know if these environmentally conscious people are even thinking about this. They should be, though.
Right. Well, that's why they have us, is so that we can say, hey, think about this. Don't bury yourself and put all of those pollutants back into the soil,
Yeah.
Put good stuff in the soil so that the earth can grow.
Yeah, grow a tree. Grow a weed plant. Grow whatever your favorite plant is.
Yeah, my favorite is the Mr. Lincoln rose. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Long stem, fat red rose. Oh, they're beautiful. And I want to contribute to roses and have them big and beautiful, fat, like me.
Love it.
Well, thanks for talking with us today, Claire.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Please stay tuned for the continuing saga of Everyone Dies, and thank you for listening. Sand through an hourglass is not the same as an hourglass through sand. This is Charlie Navarrete, and ironically, from Dr. Martin Luther King, if a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live.
And I'm Mary Matzo, and we'll see you next week. Remember, live every day like it was your last one, and one day you're gonna be right. And every day is a gift. Thank you.
This podcast does not provide medical advice. All discussion on this podcast, such as treatments, dosages, outcomes, charts, patient profiles, advice, messages, and any other discussion are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice or treatment. Always seek the advice of your primary care practitioner or other qualified health providers with any questions that you may have regarding your health. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard from this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or 911 immediately. Everyone Dies does not recommend or endorse any specific tests, practitioners, products, procedures, opinions, or other information that may be mentioned in this podcast. Reliance on any information provided in this podcast by persons appearing on this podcast at the invitation of Everyone Dies or by other members is solely at your own risk.